Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Full Court Press NBA basketball debate. Chris Guyette here with Yvonne Juneau. February 23rd, 2015.
Are people reading?
Yeah, of course. A lot to talk about today. Some game analysis, the big trade deadline that just passed, injuries, and so much more. We're going to start with some game analysis from last night. Indiana.
Just from last night?
Well, to start with.
Okay.
Indiana tops Golden State as Stephen Curry sits. Yvonne Juneau, how surprised were you and why?
I'm going to turn that question back around on you. Do you think the only reason that they won is because Stephen Curry sat?
No.
Really? Well, make sure that fridge door's closed.
It is. In fact, I don't even think that's the main reason they lost.
Okay. I was very surprised that Golden State didn't win. Now, as to why they didn't win, or what was the contributing factor, please, by all means, enlighten me.
How surprised was I? I was surprised. I wasn't shocked. Let's start with the fact that I don't care what Indiana's record says, they're not Chavs. They're in the East. They're right in the playoff hunt. They're right in the playoff hunt. They're looking for a spot in the Eastern Conference playoffs just like anybody else is. Okay? They're not a team to be taken lightly on any night. Did Stephen Curry sitting out of this game have a lot to do with Golden State losing this game? Yes, of course it did. It's Stephen Curry. But, who is Rodney Stuckey? Rodney Stuckey for Indiana in this game had 30 points.
Mm-hmm.
My point about this is that Klay Thompson had 39 in this game. So, who's supposed to be guarding Rodney Stuckey? Oh, that's right, Klay Thompson. So Thompson can get it done on the offensive end. There's no question about it. But does this not prove that his defense is more than a liability? Yes, it does.
He was concentrating more on being an offensive player and putting points on the board than he was at defending his person.
And the biggest part about it is that 11 of Rodney Stuckey's 30 points came in the fourth quarter.
Let me ask you a question. Speaking hypothetically here, if you were the coach, just because you don't play a player in the beginning of the game, when you see that you're falling behind and you see you're losing the game, was it too late to put Curry in? Why didn't somebody put Curry in?
Curry was out last night. He was injured. He had a sore right foot.
You believe that?
Yeah. Yeah, your feet get sore.
I think it was a rest game. Because I think they went into the game thinking that it was a surefire win.
Stephen Curry doesn't need to rest. He's 23 years old.
Everybody needs to rest.
Tim Duncan needs to rest.
Okay, I follow you. You honestly do not think that they had this game won without Curry?
No, of course not.
Okay?
I don't think so.
Well, I think the game was lost because of defense. It's very simple.
I mean, Rodney Stuckey, 30 points. What? Somebody want to play defense? So, what, if anything, does this game prove to you?
That they need to work on their defense. Don't take it for granted that just putting the points on the board from an offensive point of view is going to nail you and secure you every game. You got to play both ends of the court.
Mm-hmm. This game proves to me that Golden State will get beat in the second round of the playoffs.
Oh, they're not going to get far. They're going to make it to the playoffs, but they're not going to get
They're
far.
probably going to be the number 1 seed in the playoffs. And they're going to breeze through the first round, no matter who they play, I think. Okay? Second round hits them, they're going to get beat. Because offense wins games. Defense wins championships. You're
Okay.
not going to outscore and outplay the San Antonio Spurs in a 7-game playoff series.
Not if your defense isn't
You're
working.
not going to
damn.
outscore and outplay the Dallas Mavericks in a 7-game playoff series. It's just not going to happen. This is what I've been saying all year long. This is why I think Atlanta is the best team in the league. Because their defense is just as good as their offense. In fact, they pride themselves more on the defensive end than they do on the offensive end.
They said that last night.
Golden State. A few debates ago, we had the question after Golden State lost, is Golden State vulnerable? Yeah. And this is why. This is why. It's very simple. They're vulnerable. They're big time vulnerable.
Well, baby, there's 2 ends of the court.
It's bad. It was
You can't only produce when it's your time and you've got the ball.
It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook and Oklahoma City stay hot against Denver. I don't think there was ever a question as to who was going to win this game, even going in.
Even without Kevin Durant.
Right. My question is, how impressed
Oh my God.
with Russell Westbrook have you been this season, and why?
Well, I didn't start off the season that way, and you can say I told you so if you want to, because I would deserve it. I thought he was just showing off, being fancy, and wanted to make a name for himself. And we can go back and listen to our first few debates, and you will hear me dog him. And I admit that. And I'm a big enough person to admit when I'm wrong. Okay? There is no way anybody could have outplayed him last night. He was the game last night. He was. Let's be perfectly honest. He played like a hungry animal that had not eaten in a month. He was determined, whether Kevin Durant was on the floor or not, that they were going to win that game. You could see it. It was written all over his face. Okay? Kudos to him. He was impressive last night. Well, I changed my mind about him during the break. During the All-Star break. I mean, yeah, he's a show-off a little bit, but the best ones usually are a little bit. They're a little conceited. They're a little full of themselves. They want to show off. My favorite player in the whole world, Chris Paul, does not hesitate for a single solitary moment to pull a globetrotter move and dribble the ball between his feet and his legs as he's running down the court, which is a very risky thing to do against some of these teams. But if they think they can do it and get away with it, and it's like, woo! No. He did not play last night to show off. He played to win. Yes, that's a big deal coming from me. I know that.
No, you want to know what's a big deal? I am sensing a change. I watched this game last night. And the crowd. I'm sensing a change in Oklahoma City. And that change is that this is not Kevin Durant's team.
No, I don't think so.
This is Russell Westbrook's team.
I think so too.
And you know what? I'm going to take you back.
And you know what? It took half the season.
No, it didn't.
It took almost half the season for him to let Kevin Durant be the face of the team. I don't think that's the case anymore.
Let me take you back. Here's what everybody is forgetting. We started this show last season, middle of the last season, okay? Here's what everybody's forgetting. Kevin Durant was the MVP last season. Had a great regular season. Deserved it. I was by his side the entire season.
Yes, sometimes to a fault.
And
yeah, sometimes I thought you were going overboard on him.
And then in the playoffs, he disappeared.
Yeah.
Fell off the face of the damn planet.
And I told you why. The intimidation factor.
And you got this kid, Russell Westbrook,
who took over
in the second round of the playoffs, having a career high 43.9. And everybody's wondering, oh my God, is this Russell Westbrook's team? And 95% of the United States said no.
They still thought it was all going to be Kevin Durant.
I said yes. Because the leader of a team, the best player on a basketball team, steps into the spotlight and shines beyond that spotlight. Westbrook did. It started in the playoffs.
We're going to go back to our point guard argument. He did what he had to do to win the game.
It started last year in the playoffs.
Yes.
And now Kevin Durant's missed 28 games this season with injury after injury after injury. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, you made that pretty clear during the week.
I am sick of it.
So he has disappointed you a lot.
He's disappointed me big time. Because meanwhile, you got Russell Westbrook doing these things that he's doing on the floor.
Himself.
And all the attention is, oh, when's Durant coming back? When's Durant coming back? How is that fair? I'm sorry, at halftime last night, Russell Westbrook had a double-double. At halftime. That is to be acknowledged. But every 5 minutes, it was, let's look at Kevin. Let's look at Kevin.
Kevin may have been in street clothes, but he was jumping up and down on the sidelines.
Let's look at Kevin.
What kind of surgery did they do on his foot?
It was a minor procedure.
He was jumping up and down.
Let's look at Kevin. You know what this is? This is Derrick Rose Part 2.
Yep. I told you that last year and you told me no.
This is ridiculous.
You he had an intimidation problem.
But you know what?
He needed to put some weight on.
I didn't disagree with any of that. I didn't disagree with any of that.
Mama, he's new. Give him time. He's going to bulk up.
All players need time.
He's not going to be shy.
All players need time. LeBron needed time. MJ needed time. Kobe needed time. Tony Parker needed time.
Yeah.
Okay? The point is,
they better pray. They better pray Westbrook doesn't get injured.
Back to the original question. How impressed am I with Russell Westbrook this season? Well, let me bring up a visual. Okay, and we all know I like to do this during the debate. I like to bring up the Game Time app and look at stats. Well, it's fair to say there are 3 very strong MVP candidates this year. James Harden, Stephen Curry, and as far as I'm concerned, this man Westbrook is in the MVP conversation. Okay? Let's look at James Harden. 27 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 steals per game. Damn, good stats. Okay? Let's look at Stephen Curry. 24 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals. Again, pretty damn good stats. Look at Russell Westbrook. 26 points, 8 assists, 6.5 rebounds, 2.5 steals per game. Now you tell me who the MVP of the NBA should be right now.
I agree.
That's how impressed I am with Russell Westbrook this season.
Yeah. And they didn't just win without Kevin Durant last night. They won by 25 points.
Against a divisional team.
Yep. 25 points.
The Cleveland Cavaliers win, and LeBron James passes Allen Iverson on the all-time scoring list. We're not going to talk about the game because they played the Knicks. It was pretty obvious what was going to happen in that game. Your thoughts on LeBron's accomplishment?
Well, congratulations. It's awesome. I mean, that anytime anybody does anything that's for the record books, it's good enough. It's amazing enough. But to pass up Allen Iverson,
it takes a lot for me to concede something about AI.
yeah, I know.
Because I've been on the record saying that AI is my favorite player ever.
Yeah.
He's
It
27.
couldn't have happened that they played a better team for LeBron to do this with than for them to play this team.
Look,
Yeah.
I have a very unusual kind of special respect for Allen Iverson, okay? But I have a very, very high respect for LeBron James.
This was the game to do it in.
He did this in Madison Square Garden yesterday.
Yep.
And congratulations to LeBron. Even though it's hard for me to concede something about Allen
I
Iverson.
know.
I got to give credit where credit's due. I'm not a LeBron hater. I never have been. I love LeBron. He's a teammate. I don't have to give a history lesson here. Congratulations to the man. He deserves it.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to end up in the top 5 scoring of all time because he's got at least another 8 years left. I mean, the man's as healthy as it gets. So, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen 6 to 8 years from now? Who knows where this man's going to be?
I don't think we need to discuss the next one.
I
We
really
already
don't either.
did.
Anthony Davis and Ryan Anderson injured again. But
Even
the silver lining, our Pelicans beat Miami in Miami.
I would like to go on the record as saying,
Look out. I know where this is going.
if anybody has anything negative to say about my Eric Gordon again, look out.
I got one thing to say about Eric Gordon. One
It
thing.
better be good.
It's not.
Oh! They would not have won last night if it had not been for him.
I'm not disagreeing with that. Where's it been?
He's been doing this. The last few games.
The last few games.
The game everybody can have an off night. Quote
An
unquote.
off night? How about 3 off seasons?
Oh, I'm talking about this season.
So am I. Are you kidding me?
No. Look what he did the night we went to the game.
How many 25-plus point games does Eric Gordon have this season?
I have no idea.
4!
I'm not the statistician.
4 out of 51. No, 55. 4. Are you kidding me? This guy is an adept scorer, a top 15 scorer in the game of basketball. If he's showing that he is capable of this,
It had to be done last night.
where has it been? Could you imagine if he was doing this with Anthony Davis on the floor?
I don't know if he could do this with
He's
Anthony
done it before.
Davis on the floor.
He's done it before.
Because the ball always ends up in Anthony's hands.
As it should. He's the number 1 scoring option. But when AD kicks it back out to Eric Gordon, and he's wide open, and we've seen this before, and he misses a wide open 3-point shot, you're like, come on, Eric! Really? Yet
You are
he can do
not
something
going to
like
give him
this.
credit for last night.
Did I not just say we would not have won the game without him?
No, I said that.
And I said I'm not going to disagree with that. But I want to know where it's been. Because when we signed this man to a 5-year, $88 million contract 3 years ago, which, by the way, is absurd. This man was a prime time scorer for the Los Angeles Clippers. Prime time. Was averaging 25 a game. First season with us, he's injured. Second season with us, he's injured. Well, it's his third season. And he's been off and on. At the beginning of the season, we're like, where the hell's Eric Gordon? He's on the floor, but he's passing up shots. In fact, I remember you commenting when I came over for that one game. I don't even remember who the hell we were facing. But there was no movement. He was just standing in the corner.
I do remember
This
that game.
is Eric Gordon we're talking about.
I do remember that
This
game.
is not some shab shooting guard. This is not some eighth guy in the rotation. This is Eric Gordon.
All I know, the game we went to see and the game last night.
Yeah, the game we went to see where he dropped 33, and the game last night, or tonight, whenever the hell it was, when he dropped 28. And one earlier last week when he dropped 24. Okay, that's 3 games. We played 55. We've played 55 games.
You muted it?
On that phone right now.
Oh.
55 games. And how many of them have been without Anthony Davis and Ryan Anderson?
Quite a few.
Quite a few. So whose job is it, or should it be, to fill most, not all, most of that scoring void? Because Anthony Davis gives us 24.5 points per game. Ryan Anderson gives us what? 12 to 15 off the bench?
There's other people besides Eric.
I said most.
There's a Jinsa.
Agensa's not a scorer.
There's
Label your correct players. Tyreek Evans can score.
oh yeah.
Eric Gordon. Norris Cole can do some scoring, but he just joined us.
Right.
Let's let him get comfortable.
Yeah, he was good last
Let's
night.
let him get comfortable.
He was good last night. We made a really good
Okay.
deal on that one.
Drew Holiday, but he's out.
Drew's out.
So you're missing that scoring void, which is 15 a game.
This is almost like a repeat of last year.
So you're missing 48 to 50 points per game. Most of that scoring, because Tyreek Evans is playing point guard most of the time. Most of that scoring void needs to be filled by Eric Gordon. Why? Because he is not only capable of doing it, he is more than capable of doing it. We've seen it. We've seen Eric Gordon blow up for 40 plus.
Do you realize he played almost the entire game last night?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And I am not discrediting him for the game last night. But if you want to make the playoffs, especially because we're going to be without AD probably for about 2 more weeks.
And Ryan Anderson for 3 to 4 weeks.
And who knows how long on Drew
Because
Holiday.
it's his knee.
This needs to be a nightly thing for Eric Gordon. I'm not asking the man to score 35 a night. That's ridiculous. 24? 20 to 25 points a game? Eric Gordon can manage that.
Okay?
I just want to know where it's been. I'm not discrediting him. I just want to know where it's been. Because if he does it, look what happens. Look what happens. Miami's not a shab of a team.
Oh no.
I'm sorry, wasn't Dwayne Wade playing? Wasn't Goran Dragic playing? Okay, they're not a shab. Luol Deng? Shabazz Napier? Mario Chalmers? They're not a shab of a team.
Not at all. You can't be a shabby team and have Dwayne Wade on your team.
And we beat them by 13 on the road. Look what happens.
Which means that this Friday when we go to New Orleans, they better beat them again.
It needs to happen more. It needs to happen every night, 20 to 25. It must. It has to. There's just no getting around it anymore.
Well, if we're going to be without AD and Anderson, Andrew.
But let me tell you how significant this is for Eric Gordon to step up right now. This could be the final year of his contract because we signed him to a 5-year deal. But the last 2 years on his contract are a team option. If he doesn't step up, Pelicans could kick him to the curb. Because he agreed to a 2-year team option on the final 2 years of his contract.
But the way he's performing right now, why would they do that?
If Gordon wants his money, he steps up for the rest of the season.
Oh.
This will define Eric Gordon. These next 30 games will define him. Boston's Jared Sullinger out for the season with a foot injury. Injuries.
Which brings up a topic that you don't have on here right now, but it just popped in my mind, and you know when something does that, I have to ask the question. Did we ever make any decisions from Silver about what the changes are going to be? Because if these guys didn't have to play...
They have to go through a whole bunch of talks about it before we'll know anything.
So it probably won't be till the end of the season as to whether or not any rules are going to change.
Into the off-season. Mm-hmm. Into the off-season. Because that's when they have all their meetings.
Because if these guys did not have to play such strenuous back-to-back games and they had a chance to heal, we would not be so injury-ridden.
How bad does this hurt Boston?
Oh, well, it hurts Boston. Of course it hurts Boston. Of course it hurts Boston.
Start with the fact that he's their leading scorer. He's their leading scorer. He's their leading rebounder. He's turning into a great big man. Very quietly. And it doesn't help that the East is so close and everybody's vying for a playoff spot. And you lose your leading scorer and leading rebounder.
And didn't we just get rid of somebody on the Boston team in the trade that we should have kept?
They got rid of Tayshaun Prince, but they got Isaiah Thomas. So
we got Isaiah.
I don't necessarily call that a downgrade.
No, that was definitely a step up.
Okay. How much of a chance do you give Boston to make the playoffs, and why?
No. Because I think there are too many other good teams that are going to take their place. They would have to really... Well, if Soldier's going to be out, it's over.
I'm not going to say I give them no chance. I give them a slim chance.
Always a chance.
I give them a slim chance.
Let me take that back, except for the Knicks this year.
I give them a slim chance because I think Isaiah Thomas is going to elevate them.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, yes, they lost to the Lakers last night, but who they beat before they lost to the Lakers? They beat somebody in Isaiah's first game with them, the game before they played the Lakers.
No, they lost to Sacramento by 8 points.
They beat somebody before that. Oh, I'm thinking when they beat Atlanta. Okay? They beat Atlanta because of Evan Turner and that floater by 1 point last week.
Yeah.
Okay?
But that was before the trade things, and that's before Isaiah joined the team.
Once Isaiah gets comfortable with the team, give him a week or so, he's going to elevate them. I give them a slight chance. But with the fact that Paul George could return for Indiana, okay, it's tough to say. Because the East, between 8th and 13th, there's 3 games.
I know.
Any one of those 6 teams could
3.
claim that 8th spot. It's tough to say.
But the longer Sullinger stays out and the further behind they fall down the rung.
Yeah. Yeah. Chris Bosh out for the season with blood clots near his lungs.
In his lungs.
There's a couple in and there's
Right.
more around.
Right.
How much does this hurt Miami?
Well, of course it hurts, but let's forget about the fact that this is going to affect the team greatly. I am just devastated for Chris Bosh. This is horrible. They're not calling it life-threatening right now, but all it takes is a matter of moments for one of those, because what they're doing right now is they're treating him with medication to dissolve the clots, which is what they should be doing. Okay? But all it takes is a split second for one of those clots to disengage itself and start traveling to his heart or up to his brain. I mean, a blood clot's nothing to mess around with. It can kill you instantly. I mean, and he's no spring chicken anymore. His body is tired. I mean, this is horrible. Add on top of that, he's probably stressed out and worried about the fact that he's not playing with the team, and the pressure of not being with them, and the big role that he plays with them. This is not good, no matter how you look at it, from a personal standpoint or a professional standpoint.
So how much of a chance do you give Miami of making the playoffs?
Well, you still got Dwayne Wade.
Do you think they're going to hang on to that 8th seed? Because honestly, that's what it's going to come down to.
Probably not. Probably not. Do you?
Yeah.
Be honest. Are you kidding?
I do. Because
Dwayne just came back off of an injury.
But
Dwayne is going to play like a man possessed and maybe re-injure himself all over again.
Maybe. But suppose he doesn't.
Okay. We're dealing with hypotheticals here.
There is something about March that appeals to Mr. Dwayne Wade. It always has. His career average in March is 31 points a game. Okay? This man is dangerous in March, and I think he leads them to the playoffs. I think they're going to gain momentum, and I think they're going to want to make the playoffs for Chris Bosh. I think they're going to play for Chris Bosh.
Now, that part I can see.
I think it's going to motivate them. Yeah. We're going to do this for Chris.
We'll see.
And we know how close Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh are.
We'll see.
So he's going to have a personal vendetta. Shit, I'm going to play for Chris, man. That's what he's going to tell himself. And when Dwayne Wade plays for something, when Dwayne Wade has a goal set in his mind, there is absolutely zero stopping him.
Yeah. We'll see.
Part 1 ends here. Part 2 coming at you next.